Hey everyone, and welcome back to the KenkoVibe podcast. I'm Ethan Reed,
And I'm Grace Morgan.
and today we're going to be diving into a topic that might be a little awkward,
A little bit awkward, for sure,
but
important.
super important for a lot of guys out there.
Absolutely.
Erectile dysfunction,
Yeah.
or ED,
ED?
and what it means for sperm count.
Yeah, that's a big one.
So first things first,
Yeah.
can you just remind everyone what exactly defines erectile dysfunction?
Yeah, you got erectile dysfunction, or ED, is when you can't get
Okay.
or keep an erection firm enough for sex.
Right.
And here's a surprising stat.
Okay.
Nearly a third of men report not feeling as much pleasure during sex,
Wow.
which can be related to ED.
That is surprising.
It's way more common than you might think.
Yeah.
And it can happen to men of all ages,
Right. Not just older folks.
not just older folks.
Okay, so ED is common,
Yeah.
but what actually causes it? I've heard a lot of different things.
You're right. There are a ton of potential causes.
Yeah.
Some are tied to lifestyle choices,
Okay.
like smoking, drinking a lot,
Yeah.
or being overweight.
Right.
These habits can really affect your overall health, and
Yeah.
that includes your sexual health.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to take care of down there,
Uh-huh.
you got to take care of the whole package, right?
That's right.
But are there other causes besides lifestyle stuff?
Absolutely. Things like past injuries in the pelvic area,
Okay.
high blood pressure,
Uh-huh.
or even certain medications can
Ah.
contribute to ED.
Interesting.
For example, some medications used to treat ulcers
Wow.
have been linked to ED.
Medications causing ED. Well, that's something I wouldn't have guessed.
It's a complex issue, that's for sure.
Yeah.
What's fascinating is that sometimes ED can actually be a red flag
Oh.
for a bigger health problem lurking beneath the surface. It's like your body's way of saying, hey, pay attention to me.
Okay. That's a little unsettling, but I get it.
Yeah.
So we're talking about things like hormonal imbalances.
That's right. Exactly. Hormones play a huge role in sexual function.
Right.
When they're out of whack,
Yeah.
it can definitely lead to problems in the bedroom.
So ED might be a wake-up call to see your doctor
Yeah,
and get things checked out.
absolutely.
Now let's get to the heart of the matter here.
Okay.
The connection between ED and sperm count.
Yeah.
I think a lot of guys worry that if they're having trouble with ED, it means their sperm count is low.
That's a really common concern.
Yeah.
And it's understandable why men would connect those two things.
Right.
The good news is that ED itself
Okay.
doesn't directly cause a low sperm count.
Okay, that's a relief.
Yeah,
But I have a feeling there's more to the story.
you're sharp.
Yeah.
You see, while ED doesn't directly affect sperm count,
Okay.
some of the underlying causes of ED can have an impact on fertility.
Ah, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah,
So it's not the ED itself,
right.
but maybe something else is causing both ED and fertility issues.
Yeah.
Can you give us a specific example?
Absolutely. Let's talk about a hormone called luteinizing hormone,
Okay.
or LH.
Okay.
This hormone is responsible for stimulating the production of testosterone.
Right. Testosterone. That's the hormone we often associate with male sexuality and all that good stuff.
Exactly. Studies have shown that if a guy has high levels of LH,
Okay.
and that's causing his ED, it could also be a sign of infertility
Oh, wow.
or even problems with his testicles.
So in that case, it's not the ED directly lowering sperm count,
Right.
but rather this hormonal imbalance
Yes.
affecting both things.
That's the key takeaway here.
Got it.
It's all about getting to the root of the problem,
Okay.
which is why seeing a doctor is so important if you're experiencing ED.
This is where it gets interesting for a lot of guys out there.
Yeah.
What about treatment options? Are we just talking medications,
Mm-hmm.
or are there other ways to approach this?
There are definitely a variety of medical treatments available,
Got it.
like penis pumps,
Okay.
penile implants,
Ah,
and even self-injections. These are all things you'd want to discuss with your doctor
Right.
to see if they're right for you.
I know some guys might be hesitant about those options.
Yeah,
What about natural alternatives? Are those a thing?
you're right. Some of those treatments sound pretty intense.
Yeah.
Luckily, there are some natural options on the market,
Okay.
like male enhancement pills that claim to help with ED.
Okay.
Some popular brands you might have heard of include Male Extra,
Uh-huh.
VRX Plus,
Okay.
and Eron Plus.
Wait, are we recommending these products?
Oh, no, no,
I
no.
want to make sure our listeners know we're not endorsing anything specific here.
You're right to be cautious.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
not doctors, and we're definitely not endorsing any specific products.
Right.
They're simply mentioning that these options exist.
Okay.
It's crucial to talk to your doctor before trying anything like this.
Yeah.
They can help you figure out what's safe
Right.
and what's right for your situation.
That's such an important point. Everyone is different,
Exactly.
and what works for one person
Yeah.
might not be the best for another.
Right.
It's always best to get personalized advice from a healthcare professional.
Absolutely.
So, to recap what we've learned so far,
Okay.
ED is more common than many people think.
Yes.
And while it doesn't directly cause low sperm count,
Mm-hmm.
some of the underlying causes might be linked to fertility issues.
That's a great summary. I think it's also important to add
Yeah.
that ignoring potential signs of ED can have consequences
Right.
beyond just your sexual health.
Absolutely right.
It could be a sign of something more serious
Yeah.
that needs attention.
Being proactive about your health is always the best approach.
Absolutely.
If you're having any concerns, don't hesitate to talk to your doctor.
That's right.
They're there to help you.
Exactly. It's so important to remember that taking care of your sexual health is part of taking care of your whole self. And on that note, let's shift gears a bit and talk about something we touched on earlier, the impact of lifestyle on ED.
You're right. We did talk about how things like smoking and being overweight can contribute to ED.
Yeah.
But what does a healthy lifestyle actually look like when it comes to managing this issue?
That's a great question. It really comes down to a few key areas. First, you want to focus on eating a balanced diet
Okay.
that's packed with fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, and you want to limit processed foods, sugary drinks, and unhealthy fats.
So ditch the fast food and soda
Yeah,
and go for more home-cooked meals with lots of nutrients.
exactly.
Got it. What about exercise? I know that's important for overall health, but does it specifically help with ED?
Absolutely. Regular exercise is crucial. Aim for at least 30 minutes of moderate intensity exercise
Yeah.
on most days of the week.
Okay, so we're talking about things like brisk walking, swimming, cycling, or even just dancing around the house.
Exactly. Anything that gets your heart rate up and your blood flowing. And here's why that's so important for ED exercise. Helps improve blood circulation throughout your body, which is essential for getting and maintaining an erection. Plus, it helps manage stress,
Right.
which, as we talked about earlier, can be a major contributor to ED.
Oh, yeah, stress.
Yeah.
That's the thing that seems to mess with everything. I know when I'm stressed, my sleep goes out the window, my mood is all over the place. And yeah, let's just say things don't always work as well as they should down there.
You hit the nail on the head. When you're stressed, your body releases hormones like cortisol and adrenaline.
Right.
And these hormones can actually constrict your blood vessels.
Oh, wow.
Making it harder to achieve an erection.
So finding healthy ways to manage stress, like through exercise, meditation, or spending time in nature,
Yeah.
can be a big help for both your mental and sexual health. It's all connected.
Precisely. And let's not forget about sleep.
Oh, right.
Getting enough restful sleep is essential for hormone regulation and overall well-being.
Right.
Which directly impacts sexual health.
You know, I've definitely noticed that I'm not exactly firing on all cylinders when I'm sleep deprived. It affects my energy levels, my focus, and yeah, even my sex drive.
Sleep deprivation affects us in more ways than we realize. And finally, we can't talk about lifestyle without mentioning smoking and excessive alcohol consumption.
Yeah.
These habits can damage your blood vessels and nerves over time,
Yeah.
which can contribute to ED.
So if you're serious about improving your sexual health, quitting smoking and cutting back on alcohol are definitely steps in the right direction.
Absolutely. It all comes down to making those positive lifestyle changes that support your overall well-being.
Right.
And that includes your sexual well-being. You might be surprised at how much of a difference these simple changes can make.
I think it's really empowering to realize that we have more control over our sexual health than we might think.
Yeah.
We're not just at the mercy of our bodies or genetics. We can make choices that have a real impact.
That's such an important point. It's about taking ownership of your health and making choices that support your overall well-being, including your sexual well-being.
We've covered a lot of ground today. We've talked about what EDs hound, the potential causes, some treatment options, and the role of a healthy lifestyle. But before we wrap things up, I'd love to hear if there's anything else you want to leave our listeners with. We've covered a lot of ground today. You know, as we wrap up our deep dive into ED, I think it's important to acknowledge the emotional side of things.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about the physical aspects, but we can't ignore how ED can impact a man's mental and emotional well-being.
That's so true. ED can really take a toll on a man's self-esteem and relationships. It can lead to feelings of inadequacy, anxiety, and even depression.
Yeah, it makes sense. Our sexuality is such a core part of who we are, and when things aren't working as they should in that area, it can be really tough to deal with.
Exactly. So in addition to seeking medical advice and making those healthy lifestyle changes we talked about,
Right.
it's also crucial to address the emotional and psychological aspects of ED.
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
So what are some practical steps guys can take to address that side of things?
Well, first and foremost, open communication with your partner is key.
Fair.
Talking about what you're going through can help alleviate some of the stress and anxiety.
I imagine that can be a really difficult conversation to start, but it sounds like it could make a world of difference.
It definitely can. It's also important to remember that you're not alone. Seeking support from friends and family, or even considering therapy,
Right.
can provide a safe space to process your emotions and develop healthy coping mechanisms.
I think a lot of guys struggle with asking for help,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to something as sensitive as ED. But it sounds like reaching out for support can be a game changer.
It absolutely can. Remember, prioritizing your mental and emotional well-being is just as important as taking care of your physical health.
Well said. That's a powerful message to end on. So just to recap quickly, we've learned that ED is way more common than you might think, and that it doesn't directly cause low sperm count, but some underlying causes might affect fertility. We also talked about the importance of seeing a doctor if you have any concerns, and explored the many ways you can take control of your sexual health through lifestyle changes. And of course, we finished by touching on the importance of addressing the emotional and mental side of ED, which is so often overlooked.
It's really important.
We hope you found this deep dive into ED informative and empowering.
I think it was really helpful.
I'm Ethan Reed.
And I'm Grace Morgan.
Thanks for tuning in to the KenkoVibe podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share this episode with anyone who might find it helpful. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into the world of health and wellness. Until then, take care.
Bye, everyone.